Hello again, this is the Waterman. Spiritual Toolbox number 87, the love chapter number 63, audio recording number 405, and examination table number 67. I covered that probably well enough last time in this other, so I'm going to go into it's kind of another reference thing, but I need to address it. And it's, okay. I was trying to read my writing there. I'm going to go into Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28 and 29, okay? And just bring out a few little words and open that up just a little bit. Okay. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 28 says, "Wherefore, we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace, whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear." Verse 29, for our God is a consuming fire. Now, we'll go back up here to verse 28. Most of that, you're just going to have to look at it yourself and stuff. Stuff like may and stuff. Then go in there and look. And this last word, let's see, wait a minute. Oh, the last few words, okay. With reverence and godly fear. Let's address this a little bit. Where are those words coming from? All right. Before we get to God, our God is a consuming fire, okay? Now, let's get down here to it. Okay. First of all, this right there where it says with reverence and godly fear. That word with there is meta. M-E-T-A. 33:26 in the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance is this word. Let me make sure it's turned up.
Strong's G 33:26. Meta.
Remember, that's that from I love ek, two towards and into, and E-N and S-Y-N. It's in the midst of, amid you, in the middle of your thinking processes, where God's working. Agree, exist. Exist. Keep on going, baby. So God's burning this up, burning that old stinking thinking I love you, and always in an upward manner. Because like when you burn the garbage out there, it doesn't destroy the energy and the spirit in that. Or, the energy out of that garbage. Just like in the natural, in this physical realm. When you burn that garbage up, because it's garbage and everything's gone. No, the energy is still preserved. But whenever you burn it up, it's transformed chemically there in this instance. It's chemically transformed and always in an upward manner, speaking of like the smoke and stuff going up. The energy's still there. It's just changed forms and went up. It's going up. Speaking of, it's taking that old fleshly garbage thinking in our minds, in them balls, that dark stuff. He's chopping it out, getting down so deep all the way around. Like so deep in all the way around that whole thing. He's twisting it, turning it, rotate it, chop. Hi-ya. Right? As you agree. Right? Each time it's adding more and more to your rope. Twisted in more strands of rope, making it stronger. Making you stronger inside mentally. Coming right back in, E-N and S-Y-N, amid this meta. Coming from all that old stinking thinking, to towards and into God's right-mindedness. Okay? And then we'll have to talk later about this refining fire, which I already did. It's that when God's kind of got to turn that thing inside out. That stuff is boiling it up hotter and hotter inside, increasing the temperature, and at different temperatures, that presumptuous, sinful nature, that offenseful nature that's opposed, that carnal nature that's opposed to God's will. To be carnally minded is death. To be carnally minded, the carnal mind is enmity. They're directly opposed to God. And God loves you beyond words. This carnal mind, that anthropos thinking and all that junk is right opposed. It's a liar. Nothing but pretense and falsehoods. Okay? Burn that up and refining out those different metals that are real hard to get out. You know, you take your, like say you're karate chopping some wood or something, you take an axe, chopping out little hunks of wood out of this huge big old ball, whack, whack, you're chopping out pieces of it all the way around. But then you get down to more of a metal. It's all kinds of different metals down inside that ball. You hit that with just your axe, that don't quite do it. You need to heat that thing up at different temperatures and it melts out. A different thing, like, you know, put it in a refiner's pot and put the fire to it, the tribulations, the fiery trials, and heat that thing up. It gets up to a certain temperature. One of those little metals, impurities of that golden nature of God. It's inside of you. God's nature, character, and authority. God's love beyond words. What is the fruit of the Spirit? And all of that. There's 9 ingredients. Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith, meekness, and temperance. Against us there is no law. Right? All of that. If you say one thing, it's love. It's just love beyond words. God's heating that thing up and it's boiling out. A different impurity, different metal is melting and coming to the surface. Not to condemn you and say, oh, look at that fella right there. Look at that woman right there. They're daggone, they're awful. Now, that carnal-minded users will say that. Say, you're grandiose, you're high and mighty, and oh, it'll puff you up. Or that's that Satanus, false impostor of light. That is your adversary. Pride comes before a fall, right? That boasting in yourself. That haughtiness, arrogance, conceited. Okay? It's sneaky. And then that diabolos, that false accuser, bringing you down, depressing you to as far as you know, he'll take it all out of you. He'll make you cold. So all the heat that's in you, you'll come down closer and closer to this absolute zero. To where all the molecules are working of God inside your mind start slowing down to where it even stops. Big C, God won't stop. So like in the natural, this absolute zero, that scientifically with, I forget how they did it, but it's never actually reaching that point of absolute zero, but it's approaching. It's getting real mighty close at times. Okay? But that's the lowest of low, right? In each and every thought process is how low that thing's trying to push you down there. Like with backhanded comments and stuff. You know. Never want to build you up. Okay? Now, whenever God's burning up that garbage thinking, chop it all out. Okay? It's your agree. Okay? And then it's turning it inside out and melting out those impurities. So that like metal kind of inside. Okay? It's still surrounding that pixel of light, that seed of God that's really tiny down in there. But see, it's growing. It's increasing in the glory of God. But it's still got to be melting out those impurities. So it's put in that refiner's pot and it's boiling up at different temperatures. Different metals are boiling to the surface. And God's like, it's like he's saying, shall we karate chop this board, my child? We're saying, be reasonable, sit my way. Okay, in the eye of these storms. And you're saying, yes, sir, karate chop this board on that outside. And then the inside, then all the way down in the inside of these thought processes, really hard, fallow ground. He's saying, shall we skim off this dross, this impurity that was down inside of you? See, because we were all subjected to this vanity, not willingly, but in hope. All, pause, everyone, the whole. And it's all of it in you and all of it out here. Everyone else. Okay? God's bringing you back. If you'll just agree. Keep going no matter what. Just like that named Noah. No matter what, rest in God. Exist. God, the battle's the Lord's. It's not yours. Don't pick up an axe and try to help. Let's agree. Yes, Daddy. Yes, let's try to figure this thing out. And when as this temperature's heating up, it's turning that ball kind of inside out, but a little bit at a time, it's melting those impurities out to be skimmed off. That in a way that only God can do. And this builds a really, really close, intimate, personal relationship with God. You know Him better and better and better. Increasingly more glorious in God's nature, character, and authority. In God's power. Your sine wave out here and that electromagnetic spell's going, that light, electromagnetic spectrum is increasing in the frequency, but the amplitude, how far off you're off the mark of God, that God loves you beyond words, is decreasing as He's doing this, and it's coming all the way back in and SYN, God, as He's correcting you. And correction is not always, most of the time, it's not real pleasant. But as you learn to agree, then it's pleasant because you know that it's for your good. Just like it says in Romans chapter 8, verse 8, all things work together for good to them that love God, to those who are the called according to His purpose. Okay? For whom He did foreknow, He did predestinate conformed. Not to be, it's not even in there. Added. Put it out there so we don't have to deal with it. Bull crap. No, you deal with it right, precisely and correctly when God says it. Not, I'll do it later, procrastination. Or it was way done back then, so I don't have to do it now, or that was them. God's dealing with you inside, each and every person, right? Individually, He's omnipresent, right? Slacker, you sleeper, wake up! Right? Wasn't that what they even told Jonah when he was hiding out in that ship? When the captain of that ship and all them went down there, get him down inside himself. Wake up, you sleeper! Then they come got his butt thrown out into the storm out off the ship. That big old fish swallowed him, right? I might come back and teach that, but it'll probably take over 100 easily. May not. I may be able to cover it a little quicker where I've done it before. Videos. Then again, God might expand it more. I got probably easily, I don't know, a couple 100 hours probably, or probably, I don't really know. Recordings on that already. Now, this metals inside there, as it's purifying it out, it's getting hotter and hotter and hotter, increasingly hot, just like that fiery furnace that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was put into because they wasn't bowing the knee, submitting to old King Nebuchadnezzar. That's your carnal mind. That's each person's carnal mind. Doing what that old alpha dog inside you is telling you. What that old sneaky snake, that parakeet that's all messed up, that hee-hawing donkey, jackass nature. Shut that thing up. Be still. Put a muzzle on it. Right? Now, that's what Jesus said, right? Be still to the winds and waves. It's the same thing right now. Okay? It's got to be applicable right now or it's no good for you. It's just a story. You know? Or just, you know, you fix it like you fix a great big huge nice meal and stuff. And everybody eats it. Man, that was great and stuff. 2 months down the road, you might have a good memory about that meal, but that meal's kind of gone. You need something else to eat. That meal's not holding you plumb that many months ahead, unless you froze some of it and warmed it up and ate it. But you gotta have something then, for them at that current time, right? God's working inside your head, inside you, inside your mind now. Whenever God's bringing that storm, and it comes in there in His precise, correct timing, whenever God chooses, that's when you got to make the decision. Agree with God, or don't agree, or try to get out of it, manipulate anything, any but, on the contrary, and you're falling away. You're not agreeing. You're not tricking God. No matter how sneaky snake you think you are. And that old carnal mind will try to convince you. Something like, oh, I didn't really lie. I just told a little white lie. Little one, it doesn't hurt nobody. Oh, really? God's purifying. He's getting all this stuff out of you. Okay, he's in the hard metal stuff down in it. He's melting it out in the refiner's pot. In each and every area of your thinking process, and it's coming to the top and skimming it off, okay? Now, that's in the midst of this stuff, okay? Going from out of this thinking, poopy thinking, your own right-mindedness, your own righteousness, it's filthy stinking rags. Coming from out of that and going towards and into God's right-mindedness, into His pipeline, and going in, resting in God, and SYN, relying upon God. Battle's the Lord's. You don't need to do it. You don't need to, when the disciple said, Lord, increase our strength. Basically, it's more like, Lord, our strength is nothing. All we need to do is agree with you and come back in. EN and SYN, increase your strength in us. Give us your strength. This other stuff, ours is as filthy sinking rags. It's not by our might, or my power, but it's by your spirit. Okay? All right? Ponder that. Not just a little bit. Oh, I thought about it. 2 seconds. Okay. That's all you want. Now, if you can do it, agree. Okay. But the others, you're not going to put, it don't matter. It ain't up to me. I want the best for you, but I can't. I can lead you to the water, but I can't make you drink. What's up? God does it. And you can't pull one over on God. You're just hurting yourself. Okay? No. So that's it's not it's mata in the midst of just all this going through the eye of the needle, okay? Said reverence and godly fear, okay? Now this first one, reverence here, is from the word 127 in Strong's, and it's AIDS. It's this word.
Strong's G 127. Idos.
Okay, and Eidos is a feminine noun. Okay. Okay. Basically, you boil it all down. Okay. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that one, but it's been an awe, AWE, of towards God as you're pursuing back into God. Agree. It's in awe, adoration. When you're realizing you're being enlightened, there's more strands that rope's coming in. You're being strengthened back into God and all the way in, and that's why in God you're being strengthened, knowing God's the great one. God's glorious. This stuff is just correction. The tending of the body is not to take and break your body, break you down mentally, not to kill you, but it's to help you give up that old stinking thinking. Okay? Now, I'll just get that in kind of in short there, because I don't want to spend too much time on that. I got about 10 minutes left on this. Probably have to do more recording. It's all right. And now, that's just okay? It's a connective conjunction. KAI. 50 or 25, 32, okay? And then godly fear. Okay? That's 2143. What am I saying? 2124. It's EULABEIA.
Strong's G 2124.
Eulabia. Okay? Eulabia. Some feminine noun. It's in the online biblical usage, it's been the reverence or veneration. Okay? And it's so reverence toward God. Okay? See the other one up there where they said reverence. It's Ados, I think is what they pronounced it. And that's more like show awe. Be in awe of God, okay? Wow. Okay? This reverence is being like an adoring, obedient. You're just going in. God, you're right. All my stinking thinking, all this stuff that I've been doing, it's just filth. It's just trash. It's impurities. Get it out of me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Chop that stuff out of me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Skim this stuff out of me. Skim this stuff off of my mind. All right. It's hardened down metals. You're becoming a more and more pure gold. It's like the refiner's pot. It's boiling it out. Okay. And chopping it out and burning up the garbage. Okay. This is consuming fire. So it's chopping it out and burning up that wood and thinking, that anthropos thinking. Okay. Now, in this, if you define reverence, it's a feeling of deep respect and awe or veneration. You define veneration, it's a feeling of awe and respect. And we know that in Genesis chapter 15, verse 1, God told Abram, I am, that's the self-existing one, God himself. I am your exceeding great reward. That reward that's beyond anything that you could possibly ever want or possess. Okay? So it's worth this little bitty negative electron experiences to get this big old protons and neutrons in this atom, in the nucleus of this atom. And remember, whenever more protons are put, or more neutrons are put in that, you change the number of protons in it, you change the element. You keep the same number of protons in the nucleus of the atom, and you change you add different numbers of those neutrons. It's changing the isotope, like a heavier water. Okay. All right. In short, that's you gotta watch. It's not like in the natural splitting of the atom or not. No, God's doing this in His way. He's bringing you from this water out here that's up and down, tossed to and fro by every wind of doctrine, to bring you down to this one that's inside His pipeline, this water, this thought processes. Just like water, the Word of God, the Logos, or the Dabar in the Old Testament. It's that water, and it's heavy water. It's becoming more glorious, more dense. Okay, and now these electron experiences, these negative things, this from these fire trials and these pressures out in your lifestyle are like the size. If you want to take the size, giving you a little bit of metaphor thing here, or analogy, it's like taking the size, small being less glorious and larger being more glorious. Taking these little negative electron experiences in our lives, these pressures and fiery trials, everything, no matter how big they are, how much pressure they're putting on you, no matter how much fire God's going to put to boil out one of those impurities of metal down inside your mind, inside of these singular areas of your thinking process, these little balls, as He's like turning it inside out. That negative electron would be like a 1, okay? And the proton or the neutrons are roughly the same size in the nucleus of the atom, where God's holding them tight, tighter than the strong nuclear force can hold the protons and neutrons in the atom, in the nucleus of an atom, okay? And this is that heavy water inside of God's pipeline, inside His love beyond words. This one proton or one neutron, one proton compared to one size of one neutron. And the size we're saying is less glorious, being like a 1. It's negative. It's just been in magnitude. Okay? In the natural even, that electron is like 1,836 times smaller than one proton. About the same as a neutron. God's putting those inside that nucleus, making that heavier water. By putting these little electron experiences to get that stuff out of you, out of your thinking, and purify it. But He's looking at the reward He's giving you. And in God, it's way more. Getting that Zoe life, that fullness of life in God, in His pipeline, in that love beyond words, is beyond it's exceeding great reward. God Himself, His way of thinking, His right-mindedness, put you on the mind of God, the mind of Christ, the anointing. God's taking all the way through that eye of the needle, right that midst. Not this godly fear and reverence. It's been in awe, and it's all speaking of awe and reverence and honor and glory and understanding that God is the great hero. Okay? All right, now, I'm going to start on verse 29. Okay, I'm going to reread that real quick. I've only got a few minutes here, so I'll only get part of it, I know. But this one I'm going to go a little deeper in. That one I just touched a little bit on a couple of words, okay? Now, let me see here. It says, for our God is a consuming fire. You think, man, how much can you say about that? Real short. Couple words, you just did it. Let me begin to show you a little bit. Okay? No, sit down here. This first word there, that 2532, that K-A-I, they translated as 4. It's this word.
Strong's G 2532. Kai.
You think, man, that's just that really don't have nothing. Well, yeah. I didn't open it up much that last verse, but here we will right here a little bit. Okay, it's a conjunction. Okay, Let me try to get this. Okay, now that word chi is a conjunction. It's like an and, or, and, or maybe even a but, okay? Now, in there, here's what it is. The second word in there, gar, G-A-R, 1063, they didn't even translate. They translated these two words, chi and gar, 1063, this word.
Strong's G, 1063. Gar.
Gar. And even the word after it, they still didn't translate it. Ha, H-O, 3588, okay? I'm gonna break these down. It's gonna have to be on another thing. I got about a minute left. But here, we'll try to work on this gar, okay? Basically, it's kind of meaning because, but. Let's go a little bit deeper. All right, it's a primary particle, okay? Let me just read here. I'm about to run out of time. Assigning a reason used in argument, explanation, or intensification. In the Thayers, it's the fact is. Thus, the force of the particle is either conclusive, demonstrative, explicative, or declarative. I got to sign off here. About to run out. I'll put a line here. We'll start in this verse next time. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.